Welcome to Down Content. We are SJ.
And Alex Herschel. Today we're going to talk about some movies that don't get enough love. Let's get right into it.
3, 2, 1.
Herschel. 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 What have you been up to lately?
I've been playing some games.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I get married in a little over 2 weeks from the time that we are recording this. In fact, by the time you see this episode, I may be married. Depends, because we've got a couple that need to be put out, so it might happen.
Yeah.
But with that, I've just been trying to cruise through some games, because once I get married, and then not that gaming's gonna stop. My fiance enjoys playing games, and so it's not like it's gonna go away. But there will definitely be less time, and then school will start back up, so we'll get really busy. So I'm still playing through Twilight Princess, which I mentioned.
That's right.
On the last episode.
How far are you?
I am just about to do Snow Peak, so a little over halfway. And I've also been playing through Celeste. I changed my strategy with that game a little bit. So before, what I was doing is I would play through the level, and then I would play through the level again and go and get all the collectibles, the strawberries, the crystal heart, and the cassette tape to play the harder version of the level. And then I would play the harder version of the level right after that. It takes a really long time because as much as I love it, I'm still not very good at 2D platformers. So it takes a while. And I finished doing that all the way through chapter 3, but chapter 3 alone took me 10 hours to do those 3 things, to play through all of that. And I was like, okay, I can't keep doing it. And so I changed how I'm doing it. So now I'm just going to go through the game. I'm just going to play through each level once and get through the story. And that way I should be able to get it done in the next 2 weeks. And then after that, when I have time in between games and stuff, I'll go back and revisit and get all the collectibles and stuff, because it's really fun and I really enjoy it. I just don't have as much time to learn the levels as well. But that's been a lot of fun.
What's the most enjoyable way to play that for you? Like, if you had infinite time, how would you be playing it? How would you like to play it? Or any game for that matter?
I don't know. Because, I really like the story, so I really want to see where it's going to go. But I've also really liked, the way it kind of goes is I play the level, right? And then I get all the collectibles, and it's a lot harder to do that. And then I play the really hard version, and then it's, back down. Because, all of them follow, their own level curves. And so it's been nice to, easy, harder, really hard, easy, and it kind of gets, this nice thing where I'm not constantly... Because now with how I'm doing it, once I get to the B-sides, it's going to be, hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little worried that I'll get burned out and it'll just take me forever to do. So I think the way that I have been doing it is how I would do it if I didn't have, this self-imposed time limit I have. But yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Are you going to finish Celeste before TP?
No.
Princess?
No. No. Because Twilight Princess is at my parents' house, so I have to finish that before I get married, whereas Celeste is on my Switch, so if I take that with me, it's fine. But, yeah.
I think Twilight Princess's final series of boss battles is my favorite in any Zelda game. Yeah.
Very good.
I've been slowly chugging through Tears of the Kingdom. Talking to Sidon right now. Don't worry, no spoilers. I think I've already said, but 2 temples are done.
Mm-hmm.
So It's hard because as I'm playing, I get distracted really easily, like in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll be going somewhere and I'll be like, oh, what's that? What's over there? Or that looks interesting. Or, I'll find a new great fairy and I'll want to upgrade my stuff. So then I'll get some other stuff. And it's just, and then while I'm doing that, then I see something else. And it's just, there's so much to do in that game that it's really difficult to just be like, okay, I'm just going to beat the temples and the boss. Like, you really can't do that.
And you'd miss the experience. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's
the
the
way
point,
that you're doing
right?
it is
That's the
how
whole
you're supposed to
point.
do it. So
Yeah, and I really don't want to rush it. So I am so sorry, everybody. You will eventually get our, collective Tears of the Kingdom review, but we're not quite there, or I'm not quite there.
yeah. And in light of that, we are taking another little break from talking about games because we have a lot of stuff we want to talk about with it. We have like a general review episode planned, an additional Zelda plan that's going to come out after SJ has a chance to experience more of the game. So there's a lot of content coming for Tears of the Kingdom, we promise.
Yeah, there is.
It's just not quite yet.
We'll have several episodes on that one game. There's one more thing I wanted to mention, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
So I bought a new controller.
I noticed. I didn't know if it was new because, like, it looks very similar to your Xbox controller, but...
Yeah, so this is the 8-bit do, or 8-bit do, however you want to say it. For all of you video listeners, you can see. And this is their ultimate controller. This is their high-end controller. And a few things that make this controller unique. It is a Switch controller, and 2 PC controller. So you have 2 modes. There is a switch on the back that you can flip, and you have Bluetooth mode, which you use for the Switch, or if you want to hook it up to your phone or whatever. And then the other one is a 2.4 gigahertz like USB connection. So it comes with a little dongle that you can plug into your PC. It also comes with a dock. Sorry, you guys can't see it, but Alex, you can see it over there. You slot it in. It charges through these pins.
Through these?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And are you going to talk about those? Okay. I
I
have
will.
questions about
Yeah.
those.
And then you have these paddles on the back. This is pretty common with third-party controllers. You can assign to whatever button you want. It's got motion controls, and also these use Hall effect sensing sticks. So theoretically, these will never drift. Because they use magnets to detect the position. The D-pad is way better than the Switch Pro controller. The buttons, they feel like Xbox controllers pretty much, which is good. And you can download this app on your computer or on your phone called the Ultimate 8-bit do Ultimate software or something, and you can adjust every little thing you'd want. So like you can swap buttons if you want it in different positions. You can change the sensitivity of the sticks. I mean, so many different things. And you can assign 3 profiles. So like you can have customized profiles for each game and stuff. Anyway, it's really cool. I plan to use this for a while, and eventually, I don't know, maybe I'll do a review episode on it, because I'm hoping that will be like my ultimate controller that I use for like everything, because I love the Pro controller on the Switch, but my main issue is the D-pad, and this is a fantastic D-pad. Anyway,
there you go.
On to the main topic.
Yes, so we've decided to take a little break from talking about games for a second. And today is actually July 20th, which means that tomorrow is the biggest movie event of the year with the release of Barbie and Oppenheimer, because somehow in some way these movies
Barbenheimer.
have worked together to create dual marketing for each other. And so, because movies have been on my mind, I brought this idea to SJ, and he was cool with it. So we're going to talk about underrated movies. Just some movies that don't get nearly as much appreciation or love or talked about or mentioned, however we want to put it. I have 2 movies that I'm going to talk about, and then SJ has a series of 3 movies that he'll go over. And as you're listening, we'd love to hear if you've seen the movie, your own thoughts on it, and then your own list of underappreciated movies as well. So, do you want me to start?
Take it away.
Awesome. Movie number 1 for Alex is a little movie called Lion. Now, real quick, have you ever heard of it?
No.
Exactly. Lion is a fantastic movie that came out in 2016. It stars Dev Patel, who you'd probably recognize if you saw his picture. Maybe we'll throw that up for the video watchers. He was in Slumdog Millionaire, and he was also in that really bad Last Airbender movie. But he's in it. He's the starring role, and he plays this guy who was adopted by some Americans, and once he's an adult, tries to return to India to find his biological family, just because there's this big mystery. He doesn't remember anything. He left when he was really young. There were threats of human trafficking and stuff, and it's an autobiographical movie, so this is a real story, which is really cool. But here's why it's underloved. First off, no one knows about it.
When did this come out again?
2016.
It's not even that old.
No, it's not. It was really well reviewed. Critics really liked it, but because it's just about this kid from India going back to India to discover his family, it's not as eye-grabbing as other movies would be, right?
Sure.
However, it is phenomenal. The acting is so good. The score is perfect. And there's something about movies that don't try to be too big that just really do it for me. It tells this story. It doesn't dramatize anything that didn't happen in real life. The messages of self-identity and discovering yourself, and how to balance what you were born into and what you were raised with, and how the man's name is Saru, how he balances the love and appreciation he has for the family that adopted him and is taking care of him. Those are his parents, and he recognizes that, but he still knows that there's this part that's missing. And so there's a little bit of that struggle of, do I have to choose? How do I create this balance where everyone knows that they're important to me? And it's just a really good, feel-good movie.
Maybe I'll have to check it out. Is it on any of the streaming services?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that it was on Netflix, but I also know that now, especially Netflix, takes a lot of stuff off, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Stuff will be on for, a year, and then it'll just pop off no matter how popular it is.
Yeah, you always have to look it up.
So I'm not sure where you can watch it, but if you can find it, I would definitely recommend it, because it's very good.
Well, sounds very good. So mine, it's a series. I was wrong. It's not 3 movies. It's actually 5 movies, I think. 4 or 5. And it stars Edward, Jacob, and Bella. The Twilight series. Hear me out.
What?
Hear me out, okay?
Okay, real quick before you go, this is the most out of pocket answer that I have ever heard. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me hear it.
So, the first time I watched any of them, I watched New Moon, one of my friends in high school dragged us all to it because it was her birthday party and we were all going to watch it. And I thought it was kind of silly. I didn't really follow the story because New Moon, I think, is like the second or third movie. I thought absolutely nothing of it. I was like, yeah, this is a movie that's like really easy to make fun of. I mean, and then I married my wife, and she loves Twilight. She's read all the books. She's watched all the movies. And so she made me watch all of them with her. And like at first, like I'm watching the first movie, I'm like making fun of it. It's so edgy. Like so many things that happen in it are just ridiculous. Eventually though, like I find myself getting invested. And like by the time I watch the final movie, so I really hope I don't get this wrong. Hang on. Let me just look it up real quick. I'm pretty sure it's 4 books,
but five movies. Yeah, that's
right?
what it is. Yep.
Does that sound right? Okay. By the time I'm done with the second part of the third book, or the fourth book, which is the 5th movie, because they do a part 1, part 2 thing like Harry Potter did, I was like, that was a good ending. Like, oh my gosh. And let me explain a little bit. So the reason why, well, and I think part of why I've been able to appreciate it more is because like Erica and I watch it like every year. Like we watch through all of them every year. And I think we still have one more movie to go that we need to watch. We've already watched 4 of them over the last couple of months. So like the more I watch it, the more I catch things, like little small pieces of just attention to detail. And then Erica will be like, oh, this is actually kind of cool because in the book, like this is what happens. So like that's reflected in the way that he interacts with this character, or little things like that. So overall, right, the first movie, even like the first 2 or 3 movies, like really, there's like a blue tint. Like it's like when they recorded the entire movie, they put like blue tinted paper over the camera lens and filmed the whole thing. Like that's what it looks like. But as the movies progress, it gets a little bit by bit brighter and brighter. That blue fades movie after movie. And I don't know whether that was intentional, but in my mind, that is a great representation of what Bella goes through. Bella, she doesn't feel like she's never really fit into the human world. And then as she is introduced to Edward, a vampire, she's like, she is more in her element in that world. So like, as she grows closer and closer to him and eventually, spoiler alert, becomes a vampire, then, it's like the veil is lifted, kind of, that's kind of how I look at it. And like Erica right now is reading, I don't remember what the name of the book is. Basically the series of Twilight was rewritten from Edward's perspective, and she's reading through that. And so we're finding out a lot about what Edward was thinking in a lot of these interesting social interactions. And they all, from what she's told me anyway, like work so well with Edward's like facial expressions in the movie. And so Erica was like, oh hey, did you know that when they first met in class, like he was looking at her like that because this and this and this was going through his mind. And when you watch the movie, like, oh wow, that makes so much more sense. As opposed to the first time I watched it when I was like, why does he look like he's constipated? You know, like, what is going on? So it's like this duality of I love making fun of the series because it is absolutely ridiculous. And at the same time, like, there's something there below the surface level that I think people don't recognize. Like, I think it is really well crafted for what it is, and there's a lot of attention to detail that is very easy to gloss over because it's a movie that's easy to make fun of just because of the premise to begin with, right? So
Yeah.
there you have it.
Yeah. I mean, I will always be a big defender of people enjoying movies, like, even when they see their flaws, because I definitely have my own movies there. And so while the Twilight series is, well, to be fair, I was made to watch the first one, and at that point that was the one where I was like, I don't want to watch the rest of them. I'm good. Do you remember that one? Like, I'll tell you what it was. It was that scene, first off, when he sees her for the first time, right? And is having like
so
this mini spasm.
awkward.
But
Oh my
also,
gosh.
there's that one point where she like is holding onto his back and he's like going through the forest really
Yeah.
fast with his vampire powers.
Uh-huh.
And he calls her Spider Monkey. And that was the point where I was like, okay, you know what? This is not for me. I'm just going to let it be. But I can appreciate that. And, you know, unconventional pick, not what I was expecting at all, but good to know.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll get lots of emails talking about how great Twilight is, though.
Oh my gosh, yeah, please.
So-
Like, do you agree, disagree?
Yeah.
Well, the people that would email in are probably the ones that agree. The people
Yeah.
that would disagree have not watched it as closely as I have.
Probably. All right. This next movie is very near and dear to my heart. Christopher Robin. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've been wanting to watch that movie so badly.
Okay. So Disney's been making live action versions of their movies, right? A lot of them are remakes and some of them are kind of reimaginings and or prequel / sequels to their old animated movies. And especially at this point, people dismiss them, right? They just like automatically just hate on them. And I guess The Little Mermaid recently seems to have done pretty well for itself, but like 9 out of 10 times if someone's talking about a live action Disney movie now, people are like hating on it. They're just like, oh, this is stupid. Why are they doing it? Where's the originality? And I don't agree with what they're saying at all. I can see why they say it, but Christopher Robin, okay? So Christopher Robin is obviously a story of Winnie the Pooh, right? When Christopher Robin's grown old. You haven't seen it?
No. I know. I'm sorry. That limits.
Okay, I gotta be
Your discussion a
careful
lot.
about how I talk about this. So first off, Ewan McGregor is awesome. And
Wait,
that's
what? He's in it?
he's Christopher Robin.
Oh my gosh.
So that's great. And then you see these versions of his toys, right? And when you look at how the original movies, you know, they're cartoony, these animals are very lively, and in live action, they're not, you know, brand new plushies, like they're old and ragged, and you can tell where Winnie the Pooh's fur's been matted down because he's, you know, 30 years old at this point. But the point of the movie is that Christopher Robin's grown old, right, and has lost that childlike wonder, and, you know, Winnie the Pooh and his friends come to help Christopher Robin rediscover who he is. And it's a plot, it's, you know, that's the basic structure. You see that a lot, right? Like the old Hook movie with Robin Williams, right? Same type of thing. It's not like an uncommon story. But I think it's different because it's Winnie the Pooh. I didn't necessarily grow up on Winnie the Pooh. Like, it was never like my movie. But I have a very soft spot for those characters. Like, I will unironically go ride the ride at Disneyland, and I'd go alone. If no one else wanted to go and I wanted to, I would go stand in that line for this little kid ride completely alone and wouldn't mind. There's something about it that just really makes me emotional. In the ending, I won't go into it so that you can see it. But the ending taught me some important things in life, because I went into the movie having an expectation of what was going to happen at the end, of the way that things were going to kind of shake out. And it didn't. And because it didn't, there are certain things where, like, legitimately it has changed how I'm going about my life and, like, how I'm preparing for what I want to do with the rest of my life. Yeah. Once you see it, we'll talk more about exactly what I mean. I think you'll probably get it, but it is a special movie. And again, because it's a live action Disney movie, everyone just discredits it as a cash grab, which it's not. This one is not. Christopher Robin is a purely new movie.
I've only heard good things about that movie from everyone that's seen it. That's on Disney, right?
It should
Disney
be.
Plus?
It should be. But yeah, like, I mean, if you're, like, kind of cynical, right? Like, I'm a pretty cynical person sometimes. Just go watch Christopher Robin. And, like, it'll be a very nice palate cleanser for you with how wholesome it is. You'll see connections to yourself, and, you know, maybe it'll give you kind of an idea of some small changes to make that'll make your life a little bit less difficult.
So we recently had our 4th of July family activity. And every year our cousin asks us, these questions. And then, we get quizzed on, who do you think answered this question in what way? And, we try to compete. One of the questions on there was, to whom do you relate the most in a movie or a Disney or something? And I put down Christopher Robin. I can't talk about it because I'm going to start crying. I just realized.
Just say it. Say it, man.
I think it's going to have to be another episode.
Okay.
But the short version of it is that oh gosh. I have a soft spot for Christopher Robin because, like, I went through a lot of difficult things during my childhood, and I didn't always have the same people in my life consistently, maybe except for my sister. Oh gosh. But my stuffed animals have always been there. And I have so many of them. They all have personalities in my mind, and, like, I have a really special connection with each and every one of them. And so Christopher Robin, like, that whole premise of that world is very, like, personal. like almost uncomfortably so.
You should watch this movie.
Yeah, I need to.
It's gonna tear your heart out in like the best way possible. Like you're going to feel so many things and feel so much like joy in it.
Good.
So you should, like, I'm serious, like,
I'll try to watch it like this weekend if I can.
like by the next time I see you, I hope that you've seen this movie, because
Yeah.
it is. And yeah, like even as someone who can understand that but doesn't have that level of attachment or understanding of it, and like knowing the way that it impacted me in the ways that it did, like it's gonna be a special thing. So
Oh boy. All right.
so let us know if you've seen any of these movies, if you like them, and your own list of movies that you think don't get enough love. I had a lot of movies that I could talk about. I went with the ones that I did for various reasons, and I'm sure in the future, you know, months and months from now, we could revisit this
Oh yeah.
type of
We can
episode
always
if we
talk about
wanted to.
movies. And
But-
let us know. All of our email, contact information, and social media stuff will be in the description below. Thank you very much again to Joshua, our Down to Earth Cockatiel, for being our Patreon supporter, and we love all of you just for watching and listening.
Thanks, guys. See you later.